Hello, I'm Rich I live here in Antigua, Guatemala, and I run a blog called okantigua.com. And it's basically about living and traveling and everything that has to do with tourism and living in Antigua, Guatemala. I've been here about 3 years. I live with my daughter and my wife. She's Guatemalan. I'm from the United States, East Coast, and we've settled here, and because of the beautiful weather, all the things that there are to do here, and because it's close to the U.S. We like this place very much, and it's my hope that more people come visit.
So what do you spend in an average month, and how does that compare to what you used to spend in the U.S.?
When I first came here, the prices pretty much shocked me because I wasn't used to the Central America cost of living. So what I would spend on rent in the U.S., Northeast, Boston, would be way more than what I would spend for a comparable house here. So I was blown away by how cheap everything was, by how much house I could get. If I spent $700 in a house, then I would look for a $700 house here, what it would get me here. And that's vastly different what you can get for food, for rent, for everything. So it took me about a year. We were spending over $1,000 a month for all three of us until I started adjusting my budget, where I was eating, my eating habits, my spending habits, my monthly budget for rent, and we one time came as low as maybe $400 a month, down for over $1,000 a month for 3 people. Now we're somewhere in the range of about $500 to $700 a month, and that includes everything. That includes schools, that includes home, that includes food, that includes eating out, that includes everything. But we're much wiser now, and we live like locals as opposed to somebody that's on vacation from the U.S. and wants everything that they had in the U.S. here.
So, speaking of school, what's that like here, and what do families need to know about education in Antigua?
As far as education goes, the education here varies. There's a very good school here, and it's going to be certified by an accrediting board in the U.S. And that school is what I would recommend for people that are planning on going back to the U.S. at some point in the future, because you want to follow as close a curriculum as you'll have in the U.S. so that your child doesn't get sidetracked by studying about Guatemalan history and culture if they're not going to need it. But that school is expensive. It can cost you up to $600 a month. But they follow the same U.S. calendar and everything else. Now, if you're looking for a good school, but that it's Guatemalan curriculum, then you're going to have to commit to learning Spanish, because most schools here, the good ones, are 50-50. If they say bilingual, they're not going to be fully bilingual. Maybe you'll have a class or 2 a week in English. The rest is going to be in Spanish. The school I mentioned first, AIS, that one is all English all the time, and they teach them Spanish too, but your child is not going to be lost trying to figure out what the teacher's saying. But for lower tier school, good school here, you're talking about maybe $150 a month. If you go really cheap, and like my daughter is Guatemalan. She can study in schools here. Right now, there's a school that she's studying at, and that one costs about $50 a month. Public schools here, decent public schools, would cost about $12 a month. Of course, they have the free ones, but you wouldn't want your child in a free school here. But that's how much, more or less. Look to spend about $100 for a decent school here, $100 to $150. If you got the money, AIS is the way to go. Go to my website, okantigua.com. And in there I have information about Guatemala, but it's mostly focused on Antigua. I occasionally write about my travels and my other projects, but if you need to find me, I'm there. If you want to find me on Facebook, it would be livinginantigua.com. I put together a quick guide. Well, actually not quick. It's over 450 pages of all the neighborhoods in the area, pictures. I became a photographer here. There's so many things to photograph here. It's a very picturesque town. So I learned to use a camera here, a professional camera. So I took pictures, documented everything, put it all together in the book because I was getting so many questions about it. I figured, well, rather than giving a long-winded explanation, I could just say, go buy the book. And if you have any questions after that, come and find me. But those are my two main places, okantigua.com and Living in Antigua on Facebook.
I'm Jono. I've been living out of the U.S. for about 3 years now. I've got a wife and 3 kids. The youngest is a year and a half. She was born here in Guatemala. We're originally from New York, Philadelphia area. I guess the reason we left the States is because there was a restructuring at my old employer at the company, and had an opportunity to kind of rethink about what I wanted to do. And what I did was I did a checklist of everything that I wanted and what I wanted to avoid. And based on that, I started thinking, maybe I should start my own business, and maybe it should be a location-independent business. So as a result, we ended up leaving the country. First, we settled in Nicaragua for about 5 months, but we've been in Guatemala for the last 2+ years. We like it here a lot. The cost of living relative to New York City is a lot lower. We have 3 kids, as I mentioned, so getting help is a lot easier, just around the house. Taking care of the garden, the kids, things like that. Here in Antigua, Guatemala, we've got, the school system is pretty good. The healthcare is reasonably okay. So, when we looked at the checklist of things that we needed, kind of like, fit the bill, I guess.
So what do you pay for rent per month, and what does it cost normally for a maid or a gardener or something?
Yeah, we pay $1,000 a month, and that's because we didn't go through a real estate broker. The place we live in, if you search for it online, it probably goes somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000. But that's because, and that's probably what we paid when we first got here. It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, plus a maid's room, which I use as an office. It's in a condominium, which means it's in a community, so double gated, and it's 4 or 5 blocks from the Parque Central. So its location is good. It's a nice colonial house. I pay $1,000 because after living in here for about a couple of years, you're able to kind of network and find people and find, so and so is leaving, and they had a really good deal, so we just jumped into that. So it was unfurnished, so we had to buy all new furniture. What was the other question?
What do you pay for a maid or help? For help.
I gotta ask my wife that, but I think it comes out to roughly $2 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, about $2 an hour. But we have, a guy that comes in, her father, who does the gardening, and then we have a handyman, that comes in anytime you need something done, and so.
Is he about the same or more?
Yeah, a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we probably pay a little bit more than the average, but because we don't use a full-time maid, but we use her about 70% of the week, and what she receives based on sort of the hourly rate is probably what a full-time person would get. So.
Okay.
So hey, that's fine.
So tell us about your business and where people can find you.
Oh, so I have a tax accounting business. It's called Hola Expat. So holaexpat.com. Real quickly, I guess it's a plug. We have customers now in about 25 countries. About 20% of our customers are here, clients are here in Guatemala, but my main focus is now to really get broader out, across the world. So it's just in Asia, Africa, Europe, South America, Caribbean, etc. And so, there's a lot of online vendors that do expat tax preparation. We're one of those. I think we're probably below average cost. So.
I am in Antigua for almost 6 years. My name is Marina Cooperman Villatoro, and the reason why I live here is because my husband's actually Guatemalan. We originally met in Guatemala, moved to Costa Rica because he was getting his master's degree, and then he moved back here to work with his alma mater. And even though he doesn't work with his alma mater, I decided that we should stay here for a while because Antigua is very easy. It's an easy lifestyle. There's plenty for your kids to do. There's really good private schools. The places to live here are really beautiful. Service, the maids, the nannies, it's all extremely affordable, but it's not crazy cheap how people believe. So depending on where you live, your private school, and all your expenses, it could easily be between $3,000 to $5,000 per month, and that's not being excessively luxurious at all. A house for a family of 4 could run you between $700 to $1,500 easily. Food, like the U.S. or I don't know European prices, but it's like the U.S. It's not at all cheap. The market, the fruit and the veggies, mainly veggies, very, very affordable. That's going to the market. So if you make it to the markets, excellent. But still, I figure for a family of 4, it comes out to be between $1,000 to $1,200 a month on food. And again, not excessive, not too decadent of a lifestyle. Maids could run you between $200 to $250 per month. Private schools, I'm paying around $700 a month, but you could easily be up to like $700 per child. I'm paying $700 for 2 kids. You could easily pay $700 per month per child, depending on the school your child is in. So it depends on where you send your kids. Then there's electricity, then there's internet, so that can easily run you about $200. These are fixed costs that you can't avoid. Then you have a car, and insurance for that, health insurance. I have really good, cheap health insurance, but I'm not covered internationally. So I have to add that in when I travel, so technically it's probably costing me like $2,000 per year for my health insurance.
So what do you do here for a living? What's your husband do for a living? How do you make money?
Well, my husband actually right now he's a student. He's actually getting his PhD again, so he's technically unemployed, although he's getting a stipend. He's getting his PhD in Santiago, Chile, interestingly enough. But he's back now doing his thesis. I have a website, travelexperta.com, and it helps expats, but it's also mainly for family travel. I travel a lot with my kids especially, so I give a lot of good tips for families that have younger kids that are a bit cautious about traveling, especially to Central America, Cuba, US, so I give really helpful tips. The way I make money is several ways, but the main ways is advertising, and I help people plan their trips to Costa Rica. So that has been like the main bread and butter for me and my family for the past 7 years.
Okay, where can people find you, your website, and social media?
Well, travelexperta.com. If you go there, you'll find me throughout. And my name is Marina Cooperman Villatoro, but Travel Experta is probably your best way. It's Experta with an A.com.